friends and families. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our reading lesson. For part 2 of our reading lesson, we are going to be rereading some parts of 2 books that we read this year. When I Was Young in the Mountains and Last Stop on Market Street. And we are going to be using the experiences or what happens to each character to compare and contrast. Do you remember what compare means? That's right, compare means to tell how something is the same. And what does contrast mean? That's right, contrast means to tell how something is different. So I'm just going to read parts of each book. I'm not going to read the whole book because they're a little long. But your job as you listen to the story is I want you to think about some of the experiences or some of the events that happened to Cynthia and then some of the events that happened to CJ. And then we're going to put it on our chart. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and turn to page 3 in your new packet so that you can follow along as we do this activity. And remember, your job as you listen to the story is to think about some of the different things that Cynthia does in the story and some things that CJ does in the story. And then we're going to record it up here. So let's start off with Cynthia. This book is called When I Was Young in the Mountains, and it is by Cynthia Rylant and illustrated by Diane Good. So we're going to open up the book, go past the title page to the first page right here. When I was young in the mountains, grandfather came home in the evening, covered with the black dust of a coal mine. Only his lips were clean, and he used them to kiss the top of my head. When I was young in the mountains, grandmother spread the table with hot cornbread, pinto beans, and fried okra. Later, in the middle of the night, she walked through the grass with me to the Johnny house and held my hand in the dark. I promised never to eat more than one serving of okra again. Do you remember what a Johnny house is? That's right, a Johnny house is like a bathroom outside. When I was young in the mountains, we walked across the cow pasture and through the woods, carrying our towels. The swimming hole was dark and muddy, and we sometimes saw snakes, but we jumped in anyways. So I'm going to pause right there. Let's think about one event that happened to Cynthia in the mountains. So we can go back and look at the pages. What's something Cynthia did when she was young in the mountains? That's right, one of the things she did is she went swimming in a mud hole. So we're going to write that on our chart up here. So go ahead and put your finger on the circle that says Cynthia Rylant. And we're going to say, went swimming in a mud hole. Went. Think about the sound you hear. Went. Went swimming. Went swimming in a mud hole. Oh. And then we have a period at the end. So one experience that Cynthia had is she went swimming in a mud hole. So we're going to pause on that story right now, and we are going to read part of Last Stop on Market Street. So now we're on this book, and it is by Matt De La Pena, and pictures by Christina Robinson. And again, we're just going to read part of the book. Going to go past the title page, and remember, your job is to listen for some of the things that CJ does in this book. CJ pushed through church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus in all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time, but he never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. "Nana, how come we don't got a car?" "Boy, what do you need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis, who always has a trick for you." The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the door swung open. "What's that I see?" Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it into his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon. She made sure CJ did the same. So what have we learned about CJ so far? What is he doing in the story? That's right, he's riding a bus. So now, over here on this side, we're going to write a sentence about that. We're going to say, rides a bus. Let's think about the sounds we hear in rides. A bus. Rides a bus. Oh, and then we need a period at the end. You're right. So far, we've learned that Cynthia went swimming in a mud hole and CJ rides a bus. Do you remember what goes in this circle right here? That's right, we tell how they're the same. How is swimming in a mud hole and riding a bus the same? Well, maybe they didn't have the same experiences or same things that happened to them. So let's think about something else we could think that could be the same. How did the characters act in this story? Were they mad? Were they excited? Were they happy? Were they sad? You're right, both characters seemed happy. So that's something we could write in this circle right here. Happy. Let's think about our sounds. E. Both characters were happy. Awesome. So now it's your turn. you're going to finish up the rest of this chart on your own. And then you're going to complete the sentences at the bottom of the worksheet. So I want you to tell one more experience that Cynthia had and one more experience that CJ had. And then you can complete the sentences at the bottom. And as a bonus, you could also tell me another way the characters are the same. And then, as always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thanks, friends, and have a wonderful Wednesday!